Hello, it is the 6th day of April. I'm wearing the same sweatshirt I was wearing yesterday. I'm about to go get a haircut, so that will go away. So much hair. I always look a little bit more unkempt in my vlogs on Hank's channel. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's because I'm looking down at the camera instead of looking like level at it. I think that's probably the whole difference. Anyway, so yesterday Alan, Fall of Autumn Distro, did his vlog every day in April on brain crack URLs that he owns. Alan owns 55 URLs, which sounds like a lot. It's definitely a lot of URLs. I own 57. This is a good sort of parallel between the way that Alan and I's brains work. And I think it's actually a lot of the reason that we've been successful in the stuff that we do, because we have ideas and then we want to get them out there as fast as possible, and the first thing you gotta do is buy the domain name. And then, you know, you run into some problems, the idea maybe isn't as good as you thought it was, or it's too hard to implement, or you just don't have the time, and then the domain sits there and you think, man, I sure should have done that, that would have been a really good idea. So among these 57 domains, there are a lot of domains that you know. vidcon2010.com, dftba.com, ecogeek.org, ecogeek.com, brotherhood2.com, brotherhood2o.com. So these aren't all brain crack URLs. Some of them are in use, but many of them are not. So here are my 5 favorites. I might do 6. I might have to do 6. So my first favorite is ihatefreedom.com, which I reserved after September 11th, 2001 because of all of the hysteria that was going on, and it was sort of started to be like witch hunty, where they were saying that liberals hated freedom, and so I figured I would just run with it, and I'd create a liberal blog called I Hate Freedom. But turned out I really don't like political blogging, or I don't think that was actually a good idea for a domain name anyway, but I still own that one. If anyone out there hates freedom, I'll give it to you for like 10 bucks. I also own both Stuff on Babies and StuffOnHeads.com, because I like to put stuff on things. I'm a big fan of this one, personally. PulitSurprise.com. So instead of the Pulitzer Prize, it's the Pulitzer Surprise. So I thought that I would create an award called the Pulitzer Prize, and you would be surprised for winning the Pulitzer Prize. But then you could say, I won the Pulitzer Prize. I don't know. I just thought that that was clever enough that I should own the domain name, which I do. MoveTheRibbon.com was a website that I actually developed. This was also in my more activist days. There were all these ribbons on people's cars, and the ribbon said, support our troops, or God bless America, or whatever. My thought was that you could take that ribbon and not steal it or anything, but take it and put it over the gas, so that in order to put gas in their car, they would have to like recognize the existence of the ribbon and be like, oh wow, I have to take off my ribbon because I have to put gas in my car, and I'm not really supporting our troops if I'm buying lots of gasoline. And I thought that that was a hilarious idea. Never got any legs. Definitely not going to be able to limit myself to 5. Okay, number 5 is buttfires.com. I always loved the idea of butt fires. I think I've talked about butt fires before, but instead of sending an e-card, you would send a butt fire, which is like lighting a fire under someone's butt. Because in the age of the internet, you always need to motivate people, and it's hard to do telemotivation. If I have somebody who's working for me, but they live in Ohio, I can't just walk into their office and be like, hey, I need you to get this work done. Number 6 is foulmartha.com. Catherine and I had this idea that she would be a really great sort of Martha Stewart type person, except instead of being like Martha Stewart, she would be a badass. The last brain crack domain I'm going to talk about, number 7, is sleepin.org. Probably 4 years ago I had this idea that if we all changed our sleep schedules, or like half of America changed their sleep schedule, that this would help to offset peak load for power plants. See, the way that power plants work, coal-fired power plants anyway, is that they can only produce like one amount of power. So they have to produce it day and night. So the coal power plants do this all the time, and a lot of the time demand is down here, but then in the daytime, demand goes way up here. And then they have to turn on other power plants, much more expensive power plants, to meet that peak demand. So my idea was people would just sleep till like noon or like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they go do their normal day. But their peak would be at a different time from everyone else's peak. So the peaks would get lower and the troughs would get higher. So the idea was to have a nonprofit organization that encouraged people to sleep in. Because who's gonna argue with that? Oh, I'm a member of Sleep In. I can't go to work early. Those are my domains. I'm Hank Green. I'll see you tomorrow.